Hi, this is Mika, and welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, law of attraction, manifesting, craft related, esoteric, and everything else in between. And I said that in a weird order, but anyway, today we're going to talk about learning how to sort of defend yourself against people who have an issue with your magical lifestyle. So if you call yourself a witch or you practice some sort of magical tradition or basically pagan path, that's your deal. And I've talked about this before, but I know this video is necessary because at this time of year, more people are getting together, families are getting together, and it's a time where, you're dealing probably with people you don't maybe see most of the year between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, what's new? What are you up to? Especially for you younger witches or younger pagan people. I feel for you because I know that if you're not doing something that's basically Christian, honestly, I know Christians who, if you said you were Muslim, be aghast. That would be too much. They're still not sure if that's somehow, related to devil worshiping. I'm not, look, I know people who just think like that. Don't get mad at me. I know that's a thing, but it's a tough time because, you hopefully love your family. You want to, break bread with them and see the cousins and, visit your elders and all that sort of stuff, especially if you're practicing any sort of ancestor reverence. You want to be respectful to the elders that are on this plane. So you want to go to the events. However, you got a couple family members that make it difficult for you because the more you practice a magical lifestyle, and I'll just say magical lifestyle from this point, the more you practice a magical lifestyle, it gets a little bit more difficult to cover it up. It gets a little bit more difficult to stay in a broom closet, especially if your magic is effective. Now, that doesn't mean material items. I just want to be clear because I feel like, and I'm going to go on a tangent for a moment, bear with me. I believe that people look at witchcraft as something materialistic. If you don't have all the money, if you're not in a mansion or just a large home or something that reflects money and having cash and all that sort of stuff, if you don't have that and the outward appearance of looking successful, which is typically going to be, something money related, materialistic, then are you really any good at your magic? Are you really practicing your magic? Or is it effective? Does it work? Or maybe it's not working because you live in a house that's too small. So clearly, what kind of magic are you working? Or you're not, you're this or whatever the thing is that would make you more valuable, right? That's not how any of this works. And for those of us who practice, we know that's not quite how it works. Yes, I have been able to use spell work for money, for material items, and things like that. Yes, it is possible. So I want to be clear on that. Yes, it is. Not but, and in order to get to that point, you need to be aligned spiritually. Where are you at with this? Because this is when I do magic or when I do my witchcraft, it is all encompassing. It's not just following a spell or creating a spell. It's also doing the mental work and the spiritual work. I'm coming out of myself, my spirit, and reaching out into the spirit realm, and I'm making contact. And when I'm back in myself completely, and I'm not in that communication, there's always that portal that's still slight ajar, and I still receive messages and I still hear things. So when I'm in that, because I'm in that space and I'm constantly giving reverence to my ancestors, and I make sure I keep water on my altar, and I make sure that I, commune with them as much as I can. Since this is who I am and this is what I do regularly, they show up for me. I do have innate power we all do. So let me we all have the power because we are all technically magical beings. I think some of us have certain talents that are differ from others. They sort of are a little bit better in this particular channel than necessarily this one. For instance, people who are psychic, who are just, they just know. That's a talent. Now, for somebody else, they have different, kitchen magic. I'm trying to think of all the different magics now, and all the different magical talents you can have. So forgive me, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. The point is, because I'm getting ready to go on another tangent of the original tangent. The point is, it's not all about materialism. For me, it's a spiritual path. I understand there are agnostic witches. There are witches who are, I guess, atheist witches. I guess you could say that. Basically, they don't know there's no goddess, God, or anything like that. But my thing is, or the concept of spiritual world or spirit world or anything like that. So, and there's no judgment about that either, because for majority of the time that I was practicing, I never included any goddess or God into anything. I didn't try to reach out. I didn't try to do anything. I never felt called to any particular deity. I never felt that. I didn't have dreams. I didn't have messages. Nothing. So I never made the connection. Let's just say that. But because I do operate from a spirit, but I do now. Let me clear that. I do now. Because I operate from a spiritual way of living my witchcraft, and not just kind of like I guess operating. I don't even know how I would do that, without having any acknowledgement of a spirit world or other realms. Or anyway, the point is, because I come from it from that perspective, it's bigger than getting my cell phone bill paid. If I'm in a process of needing to constantly have my cell phone bill paid and it's not getting paid, then me, and my ways of managing money needs to be, reassessed. If I've been getting messages through readings, and through dreams, or just overall just messages, some of us are fortunate to be able to have that, of finding balance. I'm seeing certain symbolism that represent balance and things like that. The problem is not about doing a money spell. The problem is something's wrong. You're not balanced. So hopefully I'm making this a little bit clear. So it's deeper than money and material things. You're being guided. You're being helped divinely, spiritually, but you're maybe, hopefully you see that. And others who don't practice don't understand that concept. It wasn't about money. It was about getting you aligned, getting you balanced, physically, spiritually, financially, so that you can prosper. I don't think we're here to suffer. I don't think we're here to consistently sacrifice and suffer through this life. Sometimes things happen and we do suffer and sacrifice, but I don't think that's the mission for anybody. I don't think that's the mission. So since I won't, that is my mindset and that's how I think. I'm not thinking that it's all about material gain. When I see someone in a home that seems modest and overall they seem balanced and they're very knowledgeable, I'm listening to that person. I think they have a message to give me. Now, to be honest, to be fair, if someone's a spirit, practicing, they've been practicing for a while, because someone new into it, come on, they're new, they're still learning. But someone who's been practicing magic for a while, and you're kind of living like, for lack of better words, like a hovel, like, I do wonder where again, it's not about material gain, but more like if you live in a neighborhood, it's not safe, you've been victimized multiple times, your children, your family, whatever, are also victimized, and you're doing, shielding and protection magic and things like that. I would wonder about that. It doesn't mean that you're still not a magical person and you're not practicing magic effectively. One would even say, well, maybe, how do you know they don't want to live there? There's that. The other part of it, assuming they don't, because if they discuss, I'm really talking about people I actually see via Instagram. Sometimes, of course, you don't know everybody's lifestyle, but you can see the background. You kind of get the idea. And judging by the tone of how they talk about money and things like that, I'm like, I think the issue is not about another money spell or prosperity spell. I think the issue is about you getting balanced and aligned, because there's probably something you're overlooking, and this is the symptom, the effect of that. Those are just my thoughts. So for the relative who, says, why haven't you won a lottery? Why aren't you rich? You kind of have to understand that they're looking at it in a very, first of all, they're dismissing everything. Let's just be clear. They're dismissing your whole, lifestyle, technically. And they're, making it a joke. But there's truth in that question when people ask that. And it's really a thing is they don't understand. They don't understand that it's bigger than material items. The things that we do, the magic that we yield, is not just about winning the lottery or being rich. It doesn't work that way, and it's never worked that way. Are there people who are successful who did use magic? Yes, but there's probably a bigger purpose going on besides just the fact that they were able to do magic from what we have agreed as a society to be successful. There's more to the story is what I'm saying. But let's talk about what you say to that, right? What do I say to that person who, the uncle or the auntie? Oh, so you real magical, huh? You do all this witchy stuff, this witch spells and all that. So why don't you give me the winning numbers so I can go play the lottery? To something like that, because again, they're joking, but they half serious. One, they want to know if you really give numbers. Like, well, I don't know if I give you some numbers right now, but let me get back to you and see what I can do. I might be able to help you out with that. One, you got their attention. Oh, really? Well, then how come you didn't win a lottery then? How do you know I haven't won a lottery? It's like, cuz you don't look like you won a lottery. What does it look like? Well, you wouldn't be living here. You wouldn't be doing this. You'd be like, okay. That's what you say. Okay, that's how you feel about it. Okay. Now, most people with halfway common sense might laugh, keep it going, and be like, "Oh, he crazy," he or she crazy. They say they won a lot, okay, and move on. If there were drinks involved, there might be more of this conversation, but you can ignore them because it's alcohol talking. But for the more, because some of us are related to some assholes. Let's just be clear, or that they're in our circle. Let's just be honest, and they could be older. And they're the worst ones. I can't stand that. Now, me, at the age that I am, I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you. I got time, and I got opportunity. Well, I'm not going to see you again until next year, so we can go. I'm going to go with you. But for the ones who maybe you're a little younger, and you're dealing with an elder, and, you're getting this kind of friction, you're keeping it light. First off, keep it light. Don't go into a thing. However, if they keep coming for you, they invited you, you can show up. So here's what I would do in that situation. I hit them with everything I know. It's funny you should mention that. When you're, really into the lifestyle that I'm into of practicing magic, it's beyond that. And then start talking ridiculously esoteric about themes and, Saturn, and just bring everything you don't want to say because you might sound like a kook, but you believe it. Start talking about it. Live in it. Just be who they think they're attacking, who they think you are. Show up as that, full costume, ready to go. Oh, well, allow me to put my metaphoric black hat on, pointy hat, and break everything down to you that you never asked for, but I'm about to give it to you right now. Because sometimes people need to be given what they're putting out. And right now they're putting out, energy that you don't want. So allow me to reciprocate. Here's a little something that you don't want to hear. And by the way, Jesus is not real. I don't know. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. But anyway, basically I'm saying give them a little bit of what they're giving you. So they're giving you useless, offensive information. Give them the knowledge, which we know is offensive to them because they don't want to hear it. They want to hear it, but they don't want to hear it. Give it to them. So that's how I would say handle that situation. Now, it'll be real interesting as the rest of the day. Hopefully this doesn't happen early in the day when you first get around family, because now you got to go with the rest of the day with this. But you would be surprised for the family members who might be listening, who might actually jump in and be like, you know, it is something to be said about that, you know, and might add to it. Watch. I've seen that myself. Just give it a try. Do that. But sometimes you got to kind of show up to people who basically came for you. And you show up in your true, authentic self. This is who you asked for. Here I am. There you go. Let me grab something else here. The other thing is, for those of us who might be a little more shy and aren't so combative, because it's not that I am, but I can be. What I am is, I'm somebody, you keep poking me, you know, you eventually you're gonna get a reaction. I try to keep it together. True Aries here, true Aries, but you keep poking. Anyway, what I would suggest for those who are not so, in your face, but they still, they just want to have a nice time. We'll just say that. You just want to have a nice time with family gathering. You didn't come there to argue or to explain yourself, and you still don't plan on it. Do some spell work on yourself before you get there. Wear protective amulets, charms, jewelry, shoot your clothes, sage yourself. Do the whole go all out on yourself, because most likely I'm thinking you're probably going to be more empathetic, and it hurts a little bit more when they come for you. Not that the rest of us don't get hurt, but you might, it may be, really doing some internal damage. And listen, some of us are a little bit more sensitive, and I completely understand that. Go on and protect yourself. It doesn't mean, because again, I like to remind people of this when you talk about magic. You protecting yourself doesn't influence someone else's will. So if they're going to be nasty, they're going to be nasty. If they're going to say something smart, they're going to say something smart. The purpose is for you not to absorb that shit, for you not to, it doesn't break through. It bounces off. That's the purpose of the protection. So I can't make Auntie stop being, a cow and saying horrible things about me or the things that I believe in, or making jokes or whatever. I can't make her stop doing that. But my protection that I put around myself, the shield that I have around myself, makes it so that she's doing it, but it doesn't affect me anymore. I'm not letting it because my shield is up. So that's what I would suggest at that point. Not that even for the one who wants to, come back, still protect yourself. And if you want to come out from your shield and sort of go into a dialogue with someone, I'm just going to say argument, dialogue, because sometimes people, family members or friends, it's not even that they're coming from an attack. It may seem to anybody else, it might seem like they're coming to attack you or make fun of you, when really they're just in a place of complete ignorance. And I mean true ignorance. They don't know. And they're trying to talk to you, but they feel like they don't know how to talk to you because you want some other stuff. So you got to remember, sometimes people just don't know better. And they don't. It's not to make an excuse. They really don't know any better. With them, sometimes, again, go back to, keep the shield up. But if you want to have the dialogue and you want to be more receptive to that person, and you want to let the shield down, go into it. Just keep in mind, you're not there to convince them. They don't need to agree to anything by the time the conversation's done. You're just showing a little bit more of who you are and what makes you you. That's it. Leave it there, walk away, and be done with it. Don't keep the conversation going. If they want more questions, be like, you should call me sometimes. We can talk about this, and end it there. Don't keep it going during that family get together. End it. Keep it short. And then put your shield back up, because that was Auntie. Uncle, on the other hand, he coming with fire. He ready to come at you some kind of way, because he done been thinking of the joke the whole time you've been talking to Auntie. So keep your shield back up, because you got to watch out for him. So there you go. The other thing, of course, is, if at all possible, radical approach, find people of like minds. Find people to celebrate these events that you normally would celebrate with family. Celebrate it with them. Now, this is tough because typically most of us want to be around our people. But some of us have people who make it almost impossible to be around them because it's the negativity, it's just too much. You don't want to have to shield yourself up and constantly keep hiding a part of who you are that is like life-changing in your life. Especially for some of us who have been through things, and witchcraft has kind of just been the thing to just set everything right in our life. And everything is going great because of witchcraft. So it's difficult to interact with family, who are against that, because some of them is not jokes. They for real is no joke. They think what you're doing is out of alignment with their principles and their religious path, and it's very bad for you. So you might not be able to deal with them anymore. Find your tribe, find your people, find a group of people. Anya's getting to me. Find a group of people who represent more of what you believe in, even remotely. I mean, they don't have to practice the same type of magic, but maybe who are even accepting. They don't even have to practice. Who are just happen to be more accepting, a little bit more open. You need to find those people and embrace them, because it's you may not be able to deal with your family anymore like that. And it's really messed up to even say that and suggest that, but for some of us who are fortunate to still have the luxury of family, and they might know a little bit of what we do, and they don't shun us, there's a lot of people who that's just not an option. They are being shunned, they are being ridiculed, and some worse. It's a little bit worse. Let me grab something here. Hold on, sorry. Some it's a little bit worse. They are, their livelihood could be on the line, their life, aspects of their life or their safety, because, some people respond, families respond differently to things in a very negative manner. So yeah, find your tribe. The other thing is, I just want to say this, and this kind of goes along with my idea of healing. Acknowledge this pain that you deal with. So, now we're past, it's happened. You went to the family gathering, you felt guarded because you put a protection magic, defensive magic on yourself. And, you didn't have as good a time as you would have liked, because it's hard to have a good time when your shields are up. You don't feel, you're not really being yourself. So, not even that you want to talk about witchcraft or paganism or anything. You didn't even want to talk about it. It wasn't, but there are parts of your life where if someone asks you something, you kind of want to say, one part of it that might be a foreign concept to them. And it was hurtful. Or you were, victimized at your freaking family dinner. Because not one, but several people, they kind of came at you. And I know that's possible. So acknowledge, regardless of the situation, acknowledge the hurt, acknowledge this was not cool, I'm not okay with it. Okay? And then move on. You cannot take your energy caring, thinking and talking about what they should have done, how they should feel, what should have happened. This shoulda, you can't do that. You gotta let it go, because it's their will, and they're using their will the way they want, and there's nothing you can do really about that. As far as practicing magic to make your family more receptive to you, now let me remind you about the subject of will. You have your own free will. We all have free will, right? So I'm willing my energy for a certain outcome, or willing energy to have a certain outcome. And when I practice magic, I'm doing that, you're doing that, they're doing that. They don't call it that, but they are expending their will to have a certain outcome, to move energy a certain way. It's not that you can't, It's just that collectively that family's will is probably pretty strong. And they have their own system in place, faith system in place probably, right? Because usually it's based out of religion, where all the critique comes out of. It's usually based because they believe in a certain faith that's you're not in line with by practicing paganism, witchcraft. You're going to want to, basically you're going to want to understand that you can't, I don't want to say you can't, I don't like that. It is difficult to bend several people's will who have already made a conscious effort to be in alignment with being against what you believe. Okay? If it was that simple, or if it was easy for one person to do, because they have the consensus, they're all on a shared vibe, and you're just the one person going up against that. And you could be a badass, and maybe you got it. Maybe you can make it a little bit more palatable to be around your family. You might be able to do some magic like that. Or you could affect the atmosphere and do a spell for peace and peaceful communication. So it doesn't mean that you've changed their way of thinking, but the interaction is peaceful. You could do something like that. But you're going to be pressed to find the combination of energy, spell work, all of that to change your family's mind. Your family, friends and family, multiple people. You would have to be doing a lot of energy and a lot of work to do so. Sort of like with politics, right? So you have a candidate, and he or she needs to get votes. They have got to appeal to multiple people with different backgrounds, different beliefs. But they need your vote. Something about them has got to resonate with you. So they spend a lot of energy, and there's a whole team of people behind them, all with the same will, willing the energy to make this thing happen, to make this spell go through, for he or she to get those votes. They got a team to get these people. So for you to change their mind, and I guess to change their mind and be accepting, because you're not trying to change their mind and make them, do what you do, just to be accepting of you, they have to use their will in order to do so. All you can do is soften it. I wouldn't even want to use the energy, because that could be life's work, and then they die, or you die, to do that. So I don't look for peace spells, look for protection spells, something that affects the room, the atmosphere spell. You want to maybe bring in a certain scent or wear a certain scent that kind of brings peace, good vibes, stuff like that. I'd go that route, but I wouldn't be trying to expend energy to change minds for groups of people who are very invested in not changing their mind, because they know they're right, and that's it. So those are my tips for dealing with what a lot of us are probably going to be dealing with this holiday season. So, be protected, keep your shields up. If you do nothing else, at least protect yourself. And for those more sensitive people, protect yourself to the 100th degree. Do everything. Your jewelry, it starts early. The shower spell, where all the negativity, all the doubt, all the fear, you're washing it off. Start there, clean slate. Next step, you want to maybe use your, your lotion or perfume to put symbols on yourself that represent protection, like the pentacle, something like that. Draw that on yourself. Whatever it is that you designate as a symbolic gesture, do that for protection. And, try to enjoy yourself as much as possible. If that's just not going to work, don't go. Deal with people who you can be yourself around. If it's to that extreme, don't go, because it's not worth it if you're walking away feeling battered and bruised. That family dinner wasn't worth it just because it was the holidays. So thank you for watching. This is Mika here at Leap Taken. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like. And if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for watching.